Good, sir. Thank you.
Man, you cool. Man, come on. Like, you ready to start? You ready to
Yes.
start? You know
Yes.
I'm ready.
Dude.
Look, Mike, I always do the over the top intro for any guest, and you ain't no. I mean, sir, you have earned this house so much money with you, the CEO of FTN Network, for the numbers, baby. I can't even stress this. You are the official, unofficial, but somehow still official fantasy correspondent for the Just Talk with Sam podcast. Mr. Mike Randle, welcome back to the podcast. It's great.
On my deathbed, I want my wife there, my children, and you. That is what I want there. No one's better than you. You were the first podcast to have me on. I will always come back on here. You are the man, Sam. Pleasure to be here.
Man, before we jump into all fantasy everything, I gotta give you a taste. You always leave us nuggets. We always have the Mike Randle sucker shit player. We ain't gonna get into that right now. We ain't gonna get into that. But we had the first ever Mike Randle Bowl last year on accident. It was a happy accident. As you know, one of my partners who usually come through the podcast, it's been a while, but he's gonna come back. I know he's doing his own thing. Um, Ike, me and him have been warring in several different leagues, and we ended up in the finals together. And I
This is
learned a
great.
very important lesson. Ike listens to you. I listen to you. So we're using all of our combined knowledge based on stuff you say. Now, here's where it even gets even crazier. He won, by the way. I gotta give him his props. He won
Oh,
championship.
no. Congratulations, Ike. That's
But
good.
here go where it gets interesting, even more interesting. You know the thing that set him apart?
What?
This very podcast, the one he wasn't on, he just listened to what I said, and then like, oh, okay, I know what he's doing.
I gotta have him on. We gotta have all three of us on
Oh,
sometime.
I
That's
got to.
great.
I'm like, he's probably watching this right now. Is like, yeah, and he's gonna do the same thing.
I love it. I love it.
So hopefully I could get my title back at the second annual Mike Randle Bowl. And please, for those who are unofficial and don't know, let them know a little bit about FTN.
FTNFantasy.com, the one place you want to go. We consolidated this year to one website. So you have your fantasy, your DFS, your betting. We have our new stats hub where you can look at every stat you possibly wanted. Aaron Schatz with the DVOA Almanac, Jeff Radcliffe, all that stuff. FTNFantasy.com. Come on, come join our Discord. Yell at me, tell me I'm an idiot. Love to have you.
You're not an idiot. Trust me. You have gotten me, sir, you have gotten me more you've gotten me to the finals more than my car. Like, I'm dead serious. It's just like you have got me there. But one thing I want to touch on before we go through all things fantasy, because I know you got DFS, real football. You can pay for some stuff around here just off real play, real betting. And I want to play this game with you because over the offseason and mostly through preseason, we got a few stories. So we want to see, do you believe the hype on 5 stories that just plain won't leave us alone? First story, Mike, are the Jets good?
Yeah, the Jets are good. As long as Aaron Rodgers stays upright, they're going to be good. Brees Hall had 70 plus receptions last year. Sam, you were throwing on the ball. Their offensive line is better, and you know the defense travels. So I get it. I understand the skepticism. They're going to be good. In fact, Sam, I think they're going to start the season 6-0.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Okay. Second news story that I'm just plain sick of, the Pittsburgh quarterback situation. I mean, is it Russ? Is it over? I cannot talk about this because Russell Wilson cost me a fantasy season 2 years ago with Denver. I believe the hype, but your competitor is not as good as you. So it's like future you versus younger you. Do I or should I even care?
You should care because I think Pittsburgh's going to win the AFC North. They got Russell Wilson because Mike Tomlin's a legendary coach, Hall of Fame coach. He just does not want the turnovers. He wants you to manage the game. We saw Trent Dilfer win a Super Bowl in that division. So he said, you know what? I'm sick of Kenny Pickett. It's not working. 12 games, 6 touchdowns. Sam, you and I could have at least 10. I mean, 6 touchdowns is brutal. So he got Russ in. He doesn't want turnovers. He doesn't want mistakes. Russ is going to manage the game. He was disappointing in Denver. Totally agree with you, but he didn't turn the ball over a ton. Justin Fields is dynamic. Justin Fields is great. He still turns the ball over too much. He still holds the ball too long. So I believe it's going to be Russ's job unless he gets hurt or he totally flops with Justin Fields working his way in. It's going to be Russ. The Steelers are going to say this. We're going to beat you up on defense. We're going to run the ball with Arthur Smith now the offensive coordinator and George Pickens is the man. You stop us. That can win as long as they don't turn the ball over.
All right. Here's another one. Is Caleb Williams the real deal? Is he starting to make it?
Oh, yeah, he is. I was, Sam, I doubted a little bit. I did. And then I started watching him in the preseason. Sam, you can throw on the run like that across your body. You have that ability to run. He's the real deal. Now, I don't know if he's going to have like a fantastic year, but he's the real deal. He's a safe top 15 quarterback this year with those weapons. No, he's good. He's very good.
Okay. This one is personal. Brandon Ayuk. Is he staying? Is he leaving? Should we care? Does it matter? What's going on with Brandon Ayuk?
What The Rock used to say, hey, Brandon, are you staying? It doesn't matter whether you're staying. I want no part of him. There's too much uncertainty. Sam, we have talked for years, you and I. You miss the preseason, your chance of getting hurt goes up. The soft tissue injuries, the lingering hamstring, no interest in Brandon Ayuk. Whether he goes to Pittsburgh, Washington, I don't care. He's overvalued. I'm not taking him.
You know what? I got one more story, but I'm just going to skip a step real quick. That was my nominee for sucker shit player of the year, Brandon Ayuk. There's so much drama off the field that is going to take, it has no choice but to take on the field stuff. Mm-hmm. So that was one of my nominees. I'm tired of it. Mm-hmm. And lastly, this is where it hurts, and I'm ready. Is it finally Lions time? Is finally the Lions time? Don't be nice to me because of what I'm wearing and what I got on. Is it finally our time?
You ready?
Yeah.
Lions are going to the Super Bowl.
Come on, man. Don't tease me, man.
Sam, 14 of their first 15 games indoors. Jared Goff over 2 touchdowns indoors as opposed to outdoors. Great offensive line. Fortified defense. Secondary's better. Amon-Ra's great. Jameson over the top. Best tight end in the game. Gibbs is Kamara. Montgomery is Mark Ingram. Enough. I love him. I love Dan Campbell. I think they're going to the Super Bowl. I do.
All right, look. In the NFC Championship game was a tale of two Sams. The first half of that game, I'm high-fiving. I'm celebrating. I'm picking out baby names. I told my wife, hey, if you stay in this house, you run the risk. We may have a little girl named Laporta. You run a risk. Second half, it was just heartbreak. So when I hear this, I'm ready. I'm ready for one more time. Let's make a real solid run at this thing.
Sam, you get home field advantage. I'll feel very confident. That game was outdoors. They actually played well. And look, there was a couple mistakes throughout the season. You know, I loved when Campbell went for it against the Cowboys the first time, but I think you got to kick it the second time when he gets a penalty. So it's fine. I'm fine with everything. Love the team. If you take the Lions name off it for the people who are national, and I say you have a solid quarterback, 2 great running backs, one of the league's best offensive lines, one of the league's best run defenses, you would buy into this team. I'm in. I'm in on the Lions.
All right. Well, you know we got to do this for the fantasy players, mainly for my snake drafting people. Dynasty is a whole different thing, but this year, who would you name? Let's go breakouts. Give me 3 at each position.
Breakouts. So let's start with running back. I have been all in on Brian Robinson in Washington. Austin Eckler is there, Sam, which means that is suppressing his ADP just enough. You know me, I like to go 0 RB. I like to get the wide receivers early because I think there's a big difference between those elite wide receivers and the middle ground. I think you can get running backs late. Brian Robinson caught passes at Alabama. No one talked about it. Guy came back from getting shot, had a decent season. Now he's there with Jaden Daniels. What happened back in 22 when Washington had a mobile quarterback who was a rookie in Robert Griffin. You had Alfred Morris, okay? The guy
Alf Mo.
who would grind out the yards. Brian Robinson is bigger. Brian Robinson is faster. Brian Robinson's a hell of a lot better receiver. I love getting wide receivers early and going for Brian Robinson. I will be shocked if he does not get you at least 10 touchdowns, maybe more. Eckler's there. He's fine, but he's older. Brian Robinson, to me, breakout at running back.
Okay. Wide receiver? Anyone to stand?
Yeah, why? Let me think here. Wide receiver. Going down the list, I'm looking for wide receivers that I think are very undervalued. And I love the Packers, but they're all about the same. So there's enough value in a guy like Ladd McConkey that I think he can be this year's Puka Nacua. And I like to be contrarian, Sam. So no one has been on the Chargers anymore because Justin Herbert got hurt. Suppose he's okay. And I understand they run the ball a lot, but Ladd McConkey is the best receiver on the team. It's only Joshua Palmer. That's not a big difference. And what I love is his ADP. You're getting him so late. Do I think Ladd McConkey gets 70 catches? Yes, I do. And if he does that, he vastly outperforms his ADP. Everyone loves Neighbors. I do too. Everyone loves Marvin Harrison. I do too. I'll take Ladd McConkey about 7 rounds later, and I'm pretty sure I'll get at least wide receiver 2 or better production.
All right. On the subject of like breakouts, I know I kind of mentioned this earlier about like tight ends, like Laporta of it all. Who's a tight end that's just like I know there's your Kelseys, you got your usual suspects, but who's a person that's just going to break out this year that should be paying attention to?
Yes, Sam, last year, tight ends, 11.5, 11.4, 11.3, 11.1 points per game. The point is that the separation with Kelce and Gronkowski does not exist anymore. So I'm going to wait on tight end. The guy we like at FTN Fantasy here, FTN Stats Hub, is Cade Otton. Cade Otton ran a route over 95% of the time for Tampa Bay. So, Sam, I'll just wait. He's always on the field. Give me 6 touchdowns with Cade Otton, and I'd be thrilled. So I grab him. I also grabbed Juwan Johnson with the Saints, who everyone was off of because he had foot surgery, but looks like he's going to be back here for week 1. So I like to get 2 guys late. I get a Juwan Johnson. I get Cade Otton. They're on the field a lot, and I'll get that value late, no problem.
Okay. Now, if we got what goes up must come down. Who's going to bust this year? I mean, running back. Let's just go running back.
Sam, what is the fascination with Devon Achane? Like, I like hitting the lottery too, but you can't bank on that. Raheem Mostert had over 20 touchdowns. He's going in the middle of round 9, round 10. I like Achane, but he was remarkably efficient last year. Tyreek Hill is there. Jalen Waddle is there. And even if Mostert gets hurt, they got Jalen Wright from Tennessee there as well. I don't see how Achane is paying off at the 1-2 turn. He is still a committee back. They're acting as if Mostert isn't there anymore. I know Achane's really good, but if I'm taking him, I'm passing on wide receiver value or a running back like a Saquon Barkley for a guy who's in a timeshare. I love the guy as a player. I don't love him at the 1-2 turn. I do not.
Okay. Wide receiver. Now, this is a very big wide receiver pool this year, but who's going to let us down?
Devontae Adams is I think he's turning 32 years old. Gardner Minshew is there. Aiden O'Connell's there. Now, I know what you're going to tell me, Sam, that Gardner Minshew feeds the wide receiver 1. He did a good job with Michael Pittman, but he has no interest. The story came out today. He wants to be traded. Their offense doesn't look good. I didn't like the way they looked in the preseason. I just think there's better values. I'd love to take a running back like an Isaiah Pacheco or someone like that there as opposed to Devontae Adams. I know he was great last year, but it's still Gardner Minshew. It's still Aiden O'Connell. It's still a Raiders team that's finding their identity. I don't want to keep betting against somebody. We talked about Kelce last year, and I was right. I'd rather get out a year early than stay a year late. I'm passing on Devontae Adams this year.
Okay, we kind of talked about this because there's little separation, but who's the tight end that's just gonna just dip, just bust?
Yeah, if you want to look at tight ends and again, you're talking about a player that's maybe going a little bit too early because they're all around the same area. I don't know if I'm ready to jump in on Dallas Goedert. And people say that Dallas Goedert was really good last year in this Eagles offense, and they can say, oh, he just got hurt. Sam, per FTN, he's had 7 end zone targets in his last 227 targets. 7 end zones. So you want a tight end that gets 7, so he gets 3.5 targets every 100 targets in the end zone?
God.
Forget it. Give me Jake Ferguson. Give me David Njoku. Give me even Brock Bowers, who could be the goal line back for the Raiders. Forget Zamir White. I'll take them every time. I don't see any reason to get a middle round tight end, and Dallas Goedert's right there.
Hey, man, you better break out those Doritos because I'm buying the dip on that one, especially on that one. I didn't think about it like that. Oh, my God. All right, I have a habit. When I jump into snake drafts, I have a category. These are my heartbreakers. I don't know why. It's like that girl you're going to go out with. The second you say hello, this is not going to end
Mm-hmm.
well.
Mm-hmm.
They are going to break your heart. Here's my top three. And I don't know why I always convince myself, but number one with a bullet is Joe Mixon.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Pitts. And I had to break myself out of habit, but Michael Thomas. I don't know why every year I give myself the speech. Oh, they've changed. Oh, he went to rehab. Everything is great now. He got a therapist. In the land of heartbreakers, who are some of your heartbreakers? You just can't say no to them.
Sam, I would be remiss if I didn't say this. I love your Joe Mixon pick. You ready for this one? You know who the number one running back in Houston is going to be this year? Is going to be Cam Akers. That's who it's going to be. It's not even going to be Dameon Pierce. It's going to be Cam Akers, who looked fantastic in the preseason. I am with you. Players that continue to break my heart. Really quick, each of the last 20 seasons, one of the top 3 quarterbacks in ADP busted. Last year, Patrick Mahomes, he was drafted super early, Sam. I think he was QB 8 or 10, depends on your scoring system, with 6 or
Right.
4 passing touchdowns. That's no good because you're spending early round draft capital. So my first heartbreaker is going to be, newsflash, everyone, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes. Find the fraud, because one of them is going to be a fraud. Good luck finding out. Now, Mahomes was it last year. Is he going to be 2 years in a row, Sam? I don't know about that, but that's my first one. My second one here is, Kyren Williams good? I don't think he's good. He was hurt in college with his ankle. He missed his whole rookie season because of an ankle injury. Last year, he was hurt as well. Plays during the season, plays well, but he got hurt in the middle of the year, and he's hurt again. And the Rams are they're believing in him so much they draft Blake Corum. I'm done with Kyren Williams. 4, 5, 6, 40. Sam, I think you can beat him in the 40. He had a good year. Sell high on him. I'm not interested. Wide receiver that always breaks my heart over and over again, but I'm still going to keep going back to him. I don't know if Amari Cooper broke my heart last year. He struggled. And Sam, I really enjoyed that week 14 200-yard performance.
It was
So
great.
he was great. But I would say it's time. I don't know if I'm thinking that's happening again. I don't know about Deshaun Watson. Now Jerry Jeudy's there. So as much as I love Amari Cooper, God bless him, and that was a big time performance. The rest of the year, Sam, he was kind of disappointing. So I'm not interested in him at all. And I have faded Travis Kelce since we got on this podcast and we've been talking. I get it. If you're going to take him early, he's got to separate. I don't think he does. I think they're going to work other backup tight ends like Noah Gray into it a little bit because they're going to save him. And that's fine. But I want no part of him as ADP. Right now, he's going around 3rd or 4th round. Too early for me.
All right, one person I want to add to this list because I feel like I keep talking them up, and I know the result is Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara is a heartbreaker for this reason. Well, the good thing is, it's the NFC South. There's going to be shootouts.
Mm-hmm.
Derek Carr, I mean, he's not great, but he's not. There's going to be, you're going to rely on catches,
Mm-hmm.
but I believe Kamara only gets to the end zone maybe 6 times a year.
Yep.
But the catches, it just, I just want nothing to do with. I know he's going to break my heart. And at ADP, let's say round 6, 7 availability, it really looks good. Like you find yourself talking yourself into him. But I think I should pass on him. But I want your take on it.
9.3, 8.6, 6.2. That's his yards per reception each of the last 3 years. 5, 2, and 1. Those are his receiving touchdowns. He's gone down every year. They don't want him there. He was 3.9 yards a carry. They're not re-signing him. And oh, by the way, Sam, Taysom Hill got a goal line carry in the preseason game.
No.
Taysom Hill, if he's tight end eligible, I'll take him all day long. A lot of the sites I'm on, he's quarterback eligible. Not thrilled with him there, but they're going to siphon touchdowns from him. I don't believe in Kamara. Don't buy it. No interest. I have zero exposure to Alvin Kamara in Underdog Fantasy Best Ball drafts.
Now, inversely, there's some heartbreakers, but if we get to that part of the draft, that round 6 through 10, and you're looking for value, this is what I like to call my Mr. Reliables. Mr. Reliable, look, is not the most sexiest pick out there, but if I need 10 points a week, I'm reaching for this person. Like, here's a draft tip. When in doubt, Brandon Cooks.
Yeah.
He's always running routes.
Yeah.
He's always there. My tight end, Mr. Reliable. Kincaid from Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
Look, who else is he going to throw the ball to?
Mm-hmm.
And I think my future Mr. Reliable, Malik Neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Jones is all right, but who else is in that wide receiver core? So can you rattle off a list of some Mr. Reliables? We're in that, mid-round part of the draft. Is more about value than it is, you're not going to brag about this, but, it's about getting something for your money,
The next time Jackson Smith-Njigba of Seattle sees a 74 next to his name, it's going to be his age. That's his ADP right now. He is the second best receiver in Seattle. Tyler Lockett, no thank you. Smith-Njigba was great. Remember, he was hurt to start the year last year. I think he's the second best player in that team. People don't like Najee Harris. He's going to get the ball, and his ADP is dropping. He's now 80.9, so we're looking at, round 8, round 9. He's still good enough to get double-digit touchdowns. I know Jalen Warren's there, but he's going to get the goal line touches. I like him as well. Jake Ferguson, you talked about Cooks. I co-sign with that because Dak Prescott threw the ball in the end zone. End zone passes here at FTN 14 more times than anyone else. He throws it to the end zone. Sometimes they're trailing. Cooks is open. How about Jake Ferguson, who, again, is in that tight end dead zone area, but he's the type of player that I like a lot more than some of the other ones. And finally, Bo Nix may be good, which means, Sam, Courtland Sutton is a pretty good value. He's a great end zone target. He can get up and get the ball. Courtland Sutton, wide receiver 49, Sam. Is there any chance that he finishes as wide receiver 50 or better? He's the number one target with Bo Nix. They won't be good. A lot of negative game script, and Sutton's a great end zone target. I like him as well. He's reliable for me there in the middle rounds.
Now, I got two more. Now, and I know this is your season. I know you're a busy man, but I got two more. But this week in particular, this week and part of next week, this is the most drafted week. This is preseason is over. We're figuring it all out. Who do you, when you go into your drafts, I got to avoid them. Avoid this person at all costs. It doesn't matter. I don't care what his ADP says. I just don't want any part of this player.
I'm not high in the Bengals this year, so I'm not getting Jamar Chase. And I understand that Joe Burrow's great, and I understand the Bengals have a real easy schedule because they finished in 4th place last year. And Sam, every year, one team in the last 20 years has gone from last to first in their division. So people are all going to be the Bengals this year. I don't like Chase. I'd rather have Amon-Ra St. Brown. No, you did not pay me to say that. I'd rather have Tyreek Hill. I'd rather have CeeDee Lamb if he falls. I don't want any part of Chase. Higgins is there. Chase will have boom weeks. Remember, Arizona last year had over 200 receiving yards, but he'll also have very odd weeks because they can scheme him out of there, and I don't trust that Bengals team at all. In terms of other players that I'm avoiding, I told you about Devontae Adams. I just don't like the situation right now. Another player, if you look, people love the Texans, Sam, and they love CJ Stroud, as they should, and they love this passing attack. But someone says, oh, I'm stacking the Texans. I'm taking multiple receivers. Sam, if you look at the numbers from last year, there is no way that Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, and Tank Dell all meet their ADP unless CJ Stroud has a Peyton Manning 55 touchdown performance from the Broncos several years ago when they had Demaryius Thomas, Eric Decker, Wes Welker. That's not happening. So if you want to take a Texans player, my response is no problem. which one isn't good, who's going to stink. And if you look at me like I'm crazy, then I just dismiss
Right.
you. So
No,
I
you're
am
right.
fading the Texans receiving core. You want to get Stroud, that's fine, but I don't think there's any way all three of them hit ADP. Nelson Sousa, our high stakes insider, says Diggs is the one who can actually do really well because they're scheming him open, which means either Collins or Dell is not hitting ADP. So that's another one that I always tend to avoid. And I'll give you one last one here. Another one I'm looking at. I like James Cook. He's a very talented running back. They didn't trust him, Sam, last year to get the goal line carries. They were giving, I think it was Latavius Murray, something like that. They could definitely siphon those carries away from him this year. You know, Josh Allen runs it in. I just think there's better options than James Cook at RB13. I don't know if he's going to be an RB1. He's got to catch a ton of passes, and he's got to get some touchdowns, which he really didn't get last year.
All right. Now I got two. I just can't do it. They're not sucker shit players, but I just want nothing to do with these people at all. Zeke. It's
Mm-hmm.
cute. It's hey, you went back to Jerry World, Dallas, whatever. You will not have that job after week 2.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who the job is going to because there's some rumors. They're talking about interviewing Dalvin Cook. You got the young dudes crushing it this year. Like, it won't be him though. Whoever it is, it won't be Zeke after week 2. You could that's just what it is. And my second person, Zamir White. I don't buy the hype. You're trying to make fetch happen. So I can't do it. Now, inversely, last question. I promise I'll let you go after this. Who do you leave the draft with? If on any team, if I draft them, I may have to reach for this person. Who am I leaving the draft with?
I just want to co-sign in the Dallas take. If Dalvin Cook goes to Dallas, I love it. You know why? Because Rico Dowdell is going to go down. That's the guy to get. He's
Yeah.
at RB35 right now. You can send Dalvin Cook there. He's washed, no problem. Sam, if you follow me, you know, first of all, I love Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm not leaving the draft without him. It's a consolidated target share. You know, he's getting 130, 140 targets, whatever it is. He may get that many receptions. Last year, he had the separated rib injury, and he played through it. The guy's fantastic. They play indoors. Jared Goff, safety blanket, whole thing. That's number one. Number two, you may not like this one, same division. I think Jordan Love's going to have a monster year. He had 20. I know he had
All
22.
right, I'm listening. I'm listening.
22 touchdowns in that from week 11 to the end of the year. He did have 2 interceptions against San Francisco, but they only lost that game by 3. And outside of that, he only had 1. The idea that he doesn't run is false. He can easily have 300 rushing yards. He had 4 rushing touchdowns last year. And I love getting him naked, meaning not stacking him, because I think Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, Dontavius Wicks, Romeo Dubs, all those guys can have decent years, but I love Love. And if somebody grabs that wide receiver, I'll take him. I don't need to stack him because I think he's going to have that big of a season. Told you about Brian Robinson. Told you about Ferguson. The other one I'm going to get, Sam, 1,200 yards, 1,200 yards, 1,100 yards, 1,100 yards. Those are the totals that Frank Gore had when Jim Harbaugh was the San Francisco 49ers head coach years ago. They are going to run the ball. What did they do? Him and Greg Roman, the offensive coordinator, living in a van down by the river, by the water, whatever the hell they're doing. They think offensive linemen are weapons. I can pass on running backs early, grab myself both Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins, and just wait to see who's the man there, because I'm getting what I believe is an RB1 every single week with the Chargers. I just think they're suppressed. Harbaugh usually stays competitive. They run the ball. They have great offensive linemen. I think it's fantastic value. Those are some of my guys that I get in my drafts.
Well, look, Mike, you are always I'm always sitting on the learning tree of Mike Randle in the FTN network, even to my own detriment. After losing, even to my own detriment. I heard you. I hope you heard every last piece of what he said. But just in case you don't, where can they see you weekly throughout the season?
You can come here to FTN Fantasy, follow YouTube channel on X at Randall Rand. Promo code FTN15, get your 15% off. We are ready to roll. It's the Discord. We're there. We're looking to help you win. And Sam, we didn't even talk about college basketball, which you know is right around the corner. Can't wait, man. Always a pleasure. Thank you.
When you get back, you helped me with my bracket there. Who would have thought that it's a heartfelt story. We all love Sister Jean. And you told me, stay the hell away from Loyola. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to do this. And then all of a sudden, I'm buying some stuff. I took the family out for vacation. It was all right.
Sam, 2 years ago, Florida Atlantic. I told you they're going to the Final Four. They made it. Last year, the call was Clemson. And if Alabama just didn't keep making those threes in the Elite Eight, we would have went back to back. We have a system, and we get that key game that you got to win if you win that all the way through. I'm still living off the Owl money that I made 2 years ago.
But hey, you have done enough. You're always welcome to the show. I love having you. I want everyone to get out here and be champions. You've made me a two-time champ. Well, technically three-time champion. I have been to the finals more times than I could count listening to you. And this is great. So, Mike, much success. I love your setup. You know, I am one of your biggest fans. I am every Sunday. You can set your watch to it at 11:45, right before waivers are due. I'm always on FTN looking for a little nugget, something I don't know, something. So look, my whole point is you guys have a great program there, and I wish you the most success. And Mike, you know you're welcome back anytime you want.
Sam, it is an honor coming on here, man. That's not BS. I love talking with you. Best of luck. And take down Ike this year, will you please?
Yes, I will. Yes, I will. Thanks, Mike, man. I'll catch you later.
You got it, man. Thanks.
All right.